The house stood silently beneath the weight of years. The paint peeled like old wounds. The porch creaked like tired bones. It was a house that had seen better days, much like Margaret, who lived within its walls. Willow Creek had always been their haven, a place of shared laughter and whispered secrets. Now the silence was deafening. Each corner held a memory, each room a ghost of laughter long gone. The air itself felt heavy, thick with unspoken grief. Margaret often sat by the window, her gaze lost in the distance. The world outside continued, oblivious to the quiet pain that had taken root in her heart. Autumn leaves fell like tears, mirroring the sorrow that colored her world. The old house on Willow Creek was a mirror reflecting Margaret's soul, weathered, fragile, and steeped in the bittersweet memories of a love that death could not erase. It was a testament to a life that had irrevocably changed, a life forever marked by absence. Margaret had been a single mother for as long as she could remember. Peter, her son, was the center of her universe, the sun around which her world revolved. He had her smile, her eyes, and a heart that mirrored her own. They were two souls intertwined, their bond forged in the crucible of shared dreams and quiet moments of unspoken understanding. Peter had a way of looking at her, his eyes filled with such pure, unadulterated love that it could melt even the coldest of hearts. He was her reason for being, the driving force behind her every action. She worked tirelessly, her love for him fueling her through long days and even longer nights. Every sacrifice was a badge of honor, every hardship endured a testament to the depth of her love. Margaret had poured her entire being into raising him, her hopes, her dreams, her fears, and her love. He was her masterpiece, her greatest creation, and the source of her greatest joy. It had started subtly, a persistent cough that refused to be silenced. Then came the fatigue, the weight loss, the nights drenched in cold sweat. The doctor's words hung in the air like a death knell. Cancer. Margaret's world shattered, the pieces falling away like autumn leaves caught in a sudden gust of wind. Fear, cold and unforgiving, took root in her heart, squeezing the breath from her lungs. She fought with a ferocity born of desperation, clinging to hope as a drowning man clings to a lifeline. She spent sleepless nights researching treatments, her days a blur of hospital visits and whispered prayers. Through it all, Peter never complained, his spirit a beacon of strength in the face of adversity. He endured the pain, the nausea, the crushing fatigue with a quiet dignity that broke Margaret's heart anew each day. He was her rock, her anchor, even as his own life slowly ebbed away. The end, when it came, was both a thief and a mercy. It stole Peter away from her, leaving behind a void that echoed with his absence. Yet it also ended his suffering, releasing him from the clutches of a disease that had ravaged his body but never touched his soul. Margaret sat beside his bed, her hand clasped tightly around his, her tears falling silently onto the sheets. The world outside faded away, its noises muffled, its colors dimmed. All that remained was the crushing weight of her grief, the suffocating silence that now filled the space where his laughter used to be. His hand, once strong and vibrant, now lay cold and lifeless in hers. The warmth of his touch, a memory etched into the very fabric of her being, now a phantom sensation that haunted her waking hours and tormented her dreams. The silence in that room was deafening, broken only by the sound of Margaret's choked sobs. It was the silence of a love story abruptly ended, a symphony forever silenced, a heart irrevocably broken. Time, they say, heals all wounds, but for Margaret, time was a cruel trickster, stretching her pain into an endless echo of what once was. Days turned into weeks, weeks into months, months into years, yet the rawness of her grief remained. She moved through life in a daze, her routine a pale imitation of its former self. The house, once filled with Peter's laughter and the aroma of freshly baked cookies, now stood silent, a constant reminder of her loss. Every sunrise was a painful reminder of her new reality. Every sunset a descent into a loneliness so profound it threatened to consume her. She ate because she had to, slept because exhaustion demanded it, but found no joy in the everyday rituals that had once given her life meaning. Her garden, once Peter's pride and joy, became her sanctuary, the feel of cool earth between her fingers grounding her in the present moment, however fleetingly. She tended to her flowers with the same love and care she had once showered upon her son, finding solace in their quiet beauty and the cyclical nature of life, death and rebirth. Yet, even in the depths of her despair, Margaret found solace in her memories. Peter might be gone, but his presence lingered in the air she breathed, in the rustling leaves outside her window, in the warmth of the sun on her face. She clung to those memories as a lifeline, replaying them in her mind like a precious movie she could watch over and over again. His laughter, his smile, the way he used to say, "I love you, Mom," each memory a precious gem she treasured in the depths of her broken heart. Those memories were her lifeline, her connection to a past that was gone but never forgotten. They were invisible threads, woven from love and loss, that bound her to her son, reminding her that even in death some bonds could never be broken. Margaret knew that her love for Peter transcended the boundaries of life and death. It lived on in the silence of her home, in the whisper of the wind through the trees, in the beat of her own heart, a testament to a love that even death could not diminish. And in that knowledge she found a glimmer of solace, a flicker of hope in the darkness of her grief.